As promised, I have come back to you with a lecture series on marketing analytics and artificial intelligence. In my last video, you might have seen I spoke about the froth and frenzy which is there in the industry about artificial intelligence. There are a lot of courses, and by no means they are bad. They are really good. And then they teach you about all those algorithms, methods in machine learning. Along with couple of them actually sail you through how to build large language models from scratch, and those are fantastic courses. But in this video or in this lecture series, I want you to experience what a industry insider experiences when solving a specific problem. And in this case, I am taking up marketing. Right? So let me set the context with who are my target audience. My target audience are marketing professionals who are probably feeling a bit FOMO. Right? They might be thinking that what is this data? What is this AI? At this point, I did believe a lot of my intuition, and I could work with some of these data analysts and data scientists, but ultimately I prevailed. So those people, if they want to learn a little bit about how data-driven decisions are made, what is AI going to do, or how LLMs are going to shape up the marketing strategy later, probably this series is going to be for them. And some of the data scientists, because they have learned a lot about the algorithms, they have actually gone through everything and grilled through, and they want to know how whatever they have learned from whatever regression to gradient boosting to whatever, right, how it is going to work out in this scenario, in marketing scenario. And finally, those people who are a blank slate, students or early career professionals who are exploring some career options in marketing analytics. So these are my target audience, but not to say those who want to have a general understanding of AI and marketing and how industry works. I would really love to see them and get benefited through this video and through this lecture series. And this is going to be truly interesting because I am going to cover a couple of real life case studies. Of course, I would not be able to use the actual data, but definitely some synthetic data would help us understand how marketing works in different industries. Let's go ahead. Let me set the context with big picture. Now, why I am setting the context with big picture? Because I have seen a clear gap between those who are analyzing the data and getting some insights out of it and those who are at the forefront of marketing. We will look at the stakeholders who are there in the marketing, but let me tell you why big picture is important. Many times it happens because I have seen the industry, I have seen people who are analyzing the data. They have data, but is their data telling a story? Is their data or their representation of data and information giving a power to their stakeholders or marketing professionals, power to make impactful decisions? That is a big question. So without further ado, I would like to tell you that marketing definitely is bedrock of all industries. So whichever company you pick, it is going to sell their product to another person. It might be B2C, business to consumer, or B2B, business to business, right? But they are all selling something, right? And in order to ensure that they trust your product, you have to market that product. There is no choice at all. And traditionally, when probably we didn't have access to that much data, intuition played a big role. I mean, there are known problems with intuition which we will be discussing, but intuition did play a big role. All they had to do was just show that flexi on a highway and people would know about your product. So those are called advertisements, right? Now, looking at your advertisements, the key question remains, who would respond to your advertisements? You have definitely created awareness, right, with your advertisement, but who are those who would be probably knowing about your product and influenced by your advertisements so they can use their product and become your customers? So that was a very big question at that point, right? So now coming back. So these are some of the examples, right? Your advertisement looks pretty nice and you ask people to drink, let's say, Coca-Cola. And I mean, who is the Coca-Cola is like the father of the advertisement, like god of advertisements, I would tell you. The kind of craze, I think we will definitely study about how it rose, and that is truly interesting, right? Wherever you go, whichever country you go, I mean, there are advertisements about Coca-Cola, and that is the best selling product, despite lot of negative campaigns about it, right? So advertisements are something which do influence people, but let us just see what happens when advertisements are targeted versus non-targeted, right? So now that the targeted versus non-targeted is the classic fight between a intuition majority player like marketing professional who is totally into marketing versus a data analyst, data engineer, or whoever is working on data to target people, right? So that is a basic classic, I would say, a classic collaboration between both of them. Now I don't have to tell you, but let me just for the sake of it tell you that targeted and catchy ads, right? You have targeted ads which target specific set of people. You watch YouTube, you see that specific set of people would watch this video, and you would be only giving them that specific advertisement. Maybe an advertisement about a great course on AI, right? Probably the video which I am making might give you that. But non-targeted are some things which are very interesting, but probably you are not interested in their product, right? So you are creating a good ad, but it is not getting converted. So what happens? You have spent a lot of money, but maybe it's not giving you any return, right? So that is about the targeted ads. That is the power of targeted ads. Budget efficiency, definitely, because you are spending somewhere where you are getting some conversion with targeted catchy ads. But you know, some catchy ads, like you might have seen when Cred came into the picture, it did have a good very nice ads, but was it converted? I don't know. Many people are using Cred, I'm not saying no, but how targeted it was probably was a small question, but the ads were top notch, right? So similarly, brand connection. Coca-Cola has made a brand, PepsiCo has made a brand. So one who loves Coca-Cola probably may not like the taste of Pepsi, and probably majority of it might be placebo, right? And the negative of overly targeted ads, that sometimes creates some sort of creepy factor, because how did it know about this thing that I am trying to buy this, right? We all know a case about a lady who was targeted by Target, right? I just wanted to say that was a very creepy case at one point, that am I losing my privacy? And we will discuss about that as well, compliance and privacy and everything in the marketing, the variables which you can use at this situation with so many regulators versus using some variables which you can use, some variables you can't use. You cannot profile someone on the basis of their race, age, or whatever, right? So we will discuss about that as well. And the targeted ads sometimes offer precise data on what actually is happening, and it truly helps in calculating the metrics. There are a lot of metrics, I'll come to you about them, but that actually works a lot, right? But on the other hand, non-targeted catchy ads do create a lot of awareness, like the example of Cred which I was saying. At one point I saw that, okay, it is just paying my credit card bill, right? How is it important? But when I saw some of the ads, I did install it, and at one point I started using it. The question of whether that was targeted or not, that is a different question, but it did create impact with that targeted ads. So this is the classic struggle between a intuition versus data driven approaches, right? Let's go through a little deeper into them. But before that, let's talk about key stakeholders in the marketing, right? And this is not an exhaustive list. Let me tell you, there are a lot of other facets to it, and as the industry becomes big and big, there are a lot of roles coming in. So right now I'm just showing someone who is a marketing manager, probably leading the entire marketing department of a specific industry, campaign manager who is managing the campaigns, and trust me, there are teams, there are data analysts who actually help the campaign teams, right? And there is a field manager who is probably dealing with lot of sales team members and managing the sales on the field, understanding what is happening, and probably collecting some data as well, versus those who are at the back end a little bit. I mean, sometimes they are called overhead, but they are as important as the front end, right? So marketing analytics manager who is managing a team of, let's say, a couple of data analysts, data engineers, data scientists. So these are the key stakeholders, and this is not an exhaustive list. I mean, there are n number of roles which are in the industry, and as we talk about industries, we will see them. Now, let me talk a little bit about intuition versus data-driven marketing. So whoever I had shown here, the left side you are seeing the people who are driven purely by their intuition, and right side people are talking only about data. Now both have advantages. You cannot undermine the intuition of a marketing manager. He might be there in the industry for 20-30 years, so he would know what actually he is about to sell and how he is selling and the entire nuances of the market. He would know that, right? So you can never undermine that person. So if a marketing manager is coming back and saying that these are some specific variables or specific things which you should look at, data scientists better be looking at them, right? Now let's talk about intuition versus data driven marketing. Now both have advantages and both have disadvantages. Now someone who wants to run the marketing fast, right, he would definitely rely on intuition, right? But data driven is something where probably a data scientist might take some time to collect the data, clean the data, then run some, understand what variables are actually most important for him, then run some simulations, build a model, and then at the end of the day say that, okay, this is my target, right? But on the other hand, with intuition, however biased that may be, they might be able to make decisions. So making decision is very important, definitely, right? Now intuition based, it helps you experiment things, it helps you to ensure that people are probably understanding and thinking out of the box. But data driven, whatever data tells you, that is there, right? Similarly, experience, of course, as I told, you cannot undermine the experience of a marketing manager, right? Now one problem comes into intuition based marketing is that objectivity is a bit low. Let's say you are into a specific market, let's say you are in a specific global location, you know how people behave. But when you come to the new market, you have to rely on data. You cannot simply be saying that, okay, I have this experience of people buying things in certain manner, so that would work somewhere else as well. So that objectivity is always missing, and the intuition driven decision making is always having that confirmation bias, right? Now again, measurability and ROI tracking is something very important, because if you know set of people who have bought because of your model, you would know how your model is performing, and you would measure your performance, right? Now that you cannot do with intuition driven one. But when it comes to flexibility, yes, flexibility is the strength of intuition based modeling, right? But if you want to scale it up, as I was saying, that if you want to expand the geographies, you need to have some data. One geography, something might be working very well, may not work in another geography, and people have failed there. Big giants have failed there, right? So as I was saying, the confirmation bias is a big problem in intuition based. So yeah, I mean, there is a lot of creativity. I wouldn't say that this is better or that is better, but the collaboration is going to be the strength of it. Now, how would you move from gut to proof, right? So your basis of decisions in data driven marketing is simply the data. analytics, metrics. But intuition based relies on experience, gut feeling. But is gut good? I don't know. When you have access to so much data, why should you use gut based, intuition based marketing? I don't know. I mean, that is something which probably creates some friction between the actual business versus the data teams or AI teams, right? Now, as I can go on, and you can just pause and see this, but this is how data driven marketing versus intuition based marketing function. And once we get into more deeper into the discussions, into some of the case studies which we would be doing, some of the analysis which we would be doing, you will get to experience all this, right? So let's just go forward. Let me talk a little bit about the life cycle and how the marketing starts. As we said, as we have discussed everything, that what we are going to cover in this series, and I would try my level best to be as detailed as possible in every concept and every step which you are looking at it. So first, it starts with awareness. Now that is something where probably the data driven analysis, definitely there is a scope. You will need to depend a lot on bureau data. That means you buy data from about the consumers from different people. Google actually relies a lot on, people rely on Google a lot on this one because they create awareness. Simple thing is just you search for something. Let's say I want to search for movie editing software, and all you see is sponsored 4 or 5 sponsored results, right? So that is a clear way of marketing you. So so I know that my customer wants a movie editing software, so he has Googled, so let me get my result at the top. Whoever pays better, Google puts its ad in the beginning. So you create an awareness, right? So similarly, you have once you have awareness, you target people to acquire people, make them your customers, right? So that is one of the crucial points there. And there actually something called response modeling comes into the picture. We will talk about it. Then you acquire them, you convert them, you ensure that they are converting to your loyal customers, or they are becoming your customers slowly. I mean, there might be a case that you buy, let's say, a credit card and you are not using it. So that means you have not been converted into a customer yet, right? So a credit card company has not actually done something good to make you its customer, right? Similarly, how are you going to be how are you ensuring that customers can be loyal, right? Now at the end, it is all about retention. Retention means how many of my customers probably can leave. So churn prediction or attrition prediction, that is one of the most important things. In all of the cases, you have you have covered basically the marketing and customer relationship management. So all this we are going to cover in coming lectures. So the next in the video would be about awareness and acquisition, and what I will be doing is that I will try to find some of the case studies. I am researching on them, and I'll try to see how many industries we can cover. We can definitely cover how it works in e-commerce industries. Banking is my favorite. All the other telecom industry or whatever industry we can, so that we can get maximum exposure to all the industries and how it works. And while doing so, we will solve different problems and learn all the algorithms. I agree that you might be seeing about linear regression or logistic regression and other things everywhere in the YouTube videos or anywhere, but how are you going to apply it, right? And this will be at one level. First level will be understanding the business, converting that into a data problem, and at the end solving that problem, and through applying these ML methods. Now there will definitely be a very straightforward way of looking at it. One, you will do an exploratory data analysis. You will try to create a story out of the data analysis. So first thing definitely is the exploratory data analysis, data collection, ingesting the data into your systems. All that is probably a data engineer job. You know, the second bit is more about analyzing the data, getting a story out of it. That is probably a job of BI engineer, business intelligence engineer. We have lot of softwares there, Tableau, Power BI, so we can choose one and understand how probably a story might be told there. The third level is that how are you going to make decisions? Whatever you have created, how is it going to help the marketing manager or business to make decisions, right? So that journey is something which is very important, and we are going to cover that. And at the end, talk about lead generation, or where do we need the predictive AI, right? The predictive AI which actually helps us predict things, and probably a lot of people might be looking at it because that is one of the most sexy things someone can do in the analytics. And final thing is, how is LLMs helping to personalize your experience without being creepy, right? So we will talk about everything. So here I am going to have structure my lectures into in a way that you interweave everything business into an algorithm. You will see that how factors which are affecting the business are getting converted into some of the numeric things, or some of the things which can be understood by a data scientist or a research engineer, and how is he converting that information to actionable insights. So I am going to do that for you and continue in the next series, right? So as I said in the last video, your likes, your subscribes are my source of motivation. Remember, this does take lot of work, even with ChatGPT, to be very honest, right? Because I am going to personally run some of the Python codes, because as part of this, whatever my experience has been, I am going to ensure that is part of this video, right? Thank you so much. Let us continue in our next lecture. Thank you.